IVM.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Musafir Stories, India's very own travel podcast, where each week we share the journey of travelers in their own words and relive their experiences with you, our listeners. Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of the Musafir Stories. A lot of us like to make resolutions and set ourselves goals for the new year. One such resolution that Saif and I made is to learn about something we love and to learn with purpose. As a part of this goal, we've been learning by streaming the Great Courses Plus, and we want you to join us. While Saif continues to learn about Indian history, I have been uncovering the Mayan civilization through a course called Exploring the Mayan World on the Great Courses Plus app. The Mayan world is a crossroads of epics and culture, a fascinating kaleidoscope of its architecture, mathematics, food, and of course, the famous Mayan calendar. Acclaimed archaeologist Dr. Edwin Barhart is our guide through the Mayan world that is filmed on the locations of northern Yucatan.
What's even better is that not only can you view the course on any device, you can also choose to listen to the course audio using the Great Courses Plus app, just like you would listen to a podcast. So now you can learn anytime, anywhere.
You too can enjoy 1 month of free unlimited access to the Great Courses Plus app by using the special URL that is thegreatcoursesplus.com/Musafir. Go check it out. The link is included in the show notes section.
On this week's episode, we speak about a pristine destination nestled in the heart of the Himalayas. As many of you would have read, it is heartbreaking to hear that a number of villages and locals of Chamoli district in Uttarakhand have been severely impacted by the recent glacier burst and the resulting flooding in the region. Please do consider donating to the Chief Minister's Relief Fund once details are available. We hope and pray that everyone impacted is able to cope with the effects of the disaster and the loss of loved ones. Now on with today's episode. So with that introduction, we'd love to welcome Raksha Rao from the blog The Roving Heart. Raksha, thank you so much for being a part of the Musafir Stories and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so glad to be here.
It's our pleasure, Raksha. Thank you. And I know we had been talking about having you for a while, but things kept happening, life kept moving, but really glad to finally have you on the podcast. Now, Raksha, the introduction I gave about you is very short and concise. Why don't you speak a little bit more about yourself and also about your blog, The Roving Heart?
Hi, I'm Raksha, and my blog is therovingheart.com. I started it about 4 years ago in 2016. It's an adventure and experiential blog. And about me, I am a travel blogger and also a software engineer. And currently, I'm doing freelancing. So, yeah, that's about it.
Okay, wonderful. But tell us in terms of the podcast itself, we and the listeners are keen to kind of find out where you're taking us to.
Today I'm taking you to Auli, and it's one of my favorite places in India. And we will talk more about Auli and skiing in Auli. I have been to Auli 2 times, and once I went for a trek, and that's when I discovered Auli because it was kind of a pit stop for my trek, Kuwari Pass trek, that I was doing, and I ended up staying in Auli before and after the trek. And the second time that I went to was specifically to Auli, where I did skiing. So I learned skiing. I went for a skiing course. So we will talk about that.
Looking forward to this. And anybody from South India would tell you this, that there's always this aspiration towards traveling to the mountains, traveling to the Himalayas, to the north, basically, for a lot of these experiences. We have a few of these places, beautiful places down south as well, but snow is something we don't have.
Oh, yes.
So all of us look up to the Himalayas for that. So really excited to be talking about Auli. Now tell us a little bit in terms of just orientation, right? Because not a lot of us might know, even though in the past few years it has kind of picked up in terms of popularity and people and tourists coming there. Can you please tell us where Auli is in terms of orientation and in terms of where it lies on the map?
Yeah, so Auli is in Uttarakhand, and it's like a small town at an altitude of about 2,500 meters or so.
Yeah.
And it's close to it's actually on the way to Badrinath temple. So a lot of people on the way to Badrinath temple, they stop there. And it's actually comes near the Valley of Flower trek, which
Yep.
a lot of people might know about. So Valley of Flower, Kuari Pass trek, so it's all in that region.
Yeah, exactly. In the Uttarakhand state of India, like Raksha mentioned. And yeah, it's situated kind of like completely surrounded by the Himalayas, right? It has like beautiful views in all directions.
Oh, yes.
And Oli in itself doesn't have, I don't think it does have any significant pilgrimage sites as such, but yeah, it's completely surrounded
Yes.
by a lot of these, right? Right
Yeah.
from, like you mentioned, there is things like the Char Dham or
Yes.
Prayags that are close by. I guess it's just a part of being in the Dev Bhumi, like they call Uttarakhand, right?
Oh, yes.
So wonderful. And we'll talk a little bit more about the beautiful mountains that surround Oli as well. But in terms of time of the year, when do you suggest would be a good time to travel here?
So again, it depends. So Auli is popular as a skiing destination of India. So most of the time, tourists go there during the skiing season, which is during winters, maybe December to March around. Or if you are going on a trek, if you're going on like a spring time trek, so in that case, you would go during June, July, or somewhere around that time.
Okay. Yeah, even I was trying to look up that when might be a good time to go here, and looks like pretty much it has something you could do throughout the year, right? Winters you have skiing and stuff, and
Yes.
summers and other times you can do a lot of treks and hikes around
Around
the
this
area.
region, yes, totally.
Exactly. So that way you could go anytime, but it just depends on the activity you're going there for. So based on that, you could definitely decide what you want to do. And just in terms of getting here, I know given its location, right, it's kind of strategically located as well. It might be, you might not be able to fly here directly, but what's a good way to get here and how did you get here?
Oh yeah, that's kind of tricky and it's not that straightforward. It doesn't have like good accessibility. So the way I did was I went to Rishikesh. I was staying in Rishikesh, and from Rishikesh we took a taxi to Auli, and it's almost like a day-long taxi, and you can't do it in the night because the roads are like very narrow, steep. So it has to be done during the day. And the best ways to actually travel to Auli is either through a bus or through taxi. And convenient mode is definitely taxi in that sense. So yeah. So it is kind of tricky to reach here, and you will have to reserve a day just to travel one side to Auli and then again back to Rishikesh another day, right? So 2 days traveling. But it is worth it.
Yeah, definitely. So do make sure that you plan your itinerary out. It's not one of those, I mean, especially for us, for some of us who might be living like down south, it's not just something you
Yeah.
can just pack your bags and shoot off. Unfortunately, like somebody living closer, I guess like Delhi or, I mean, even for them, it's because the thing is the last leg is a little bit of a challenge, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
you have to plan this out a little bit and you have to have a set itinerary. So that's why make sure you do the planning ahead of time. You did call out about the orientation and where it's located and how one can get there. Now, tell us a little bit more in terms of just things to do in Auli, because it is a quaint village, but it has kind of gained a lot of popularity with the different things one can do in the past few years, right? So, speak to us a little bit in terms of your experience and what are the kinds of things one can indulge in while in Auli?
Sure. So I think the first thing that you'll recognize when you're in Auli, which definitely you can't miss out, is the panoramic views of the Himalayas. It's like everywhere, and it's just so incredible. It's like it's right in front of your eyes, the Himalayan ranges. So it's like really incredible in that sense. And people majorly go to Auli for skiing. So skiing is like one of the major things that people do in Auli. So it's mostly during the winter time. So Auli tourism picked up when it was marketed as a skiing destination after the creation of Uttarakhand state. So it kind of hosts like national skiing competitions and boasts of like world class skiing slopes. Yeah, skiing is definitely the major adventure sport here, and it's amazing. You definitely have to try skiing here. So the first time when I went to Oli, I realized that it's a skiing destination. So I was like, okay, I'm going to come back here again and learn skiing. And that's what I did a couple of years back. I went back to Oli. I went for a 4-day skiing course. I mean, I went to Oli just for the skiing. So it was, I was learning skiing for like 4 days, but I still feel it was quite a short duration. I would have preferred to be there at least for a week. At least 7 days is, minimum for learning skiing, and 14 days would definitely be ideal if you want to learn skiing.
Right, and as I understand, I think there's several options for you to learn skiing, right? Both tandem as well as professional. There's different packages basically one can opt for or pay for and then learn skiing while here, right?
Yes. So I think a lot of tourists who come in here, they mostly try skiing. I mean, it's not something that they maybe take a day course of skiing.
Right.
So in that case, what they do is they kind of make sure that you're comfortable with the gear, and you kind of move around, slip and fall. So kind of get comfortable with that. So that's what happens. And when you are there for a longer time, you end up learning how to ski, like sliding down the slopes and controlling your speed, and doing it from a higher elevation and doing the turns. That's when the fun begins.
Yeah, that's when the falls begin.
Yeah,
I
true,
should say,
that too.
right? I think in terms of adventure, I can vouch for that. It's definitely an adventure, and just the way in which you glide, it's a little different. And I guess in terms of other sort of adventure sports, you have very unique to the area. And yeah, it's not too many other places in India that offer you this. So definitely sign up for this. Now, in terms of kind of planning or managing this ahead of time, like did you have to book this before you traveled to Auli, or how did this work?
So yes, I did book before I traveled. So there are main two places that you can book it from. One is the government one, which you can find it over there. I think it's GMVN. It's the government body that organizes skiing in Oli. And the other one is Oli Skiing. It's a private organization that has been teaching skiing for about 20 odd years. The thing with Oli is that it's kind of difficult to reach there, right? And also most of the stuff is they get it from the nearby town Joshimath. So what a lot of people end up doing is taking a package tour, like which involves the stay and the food and the skiing, because that comes for a better deal. And it's for a small town, it is quite expensive. So it kind of makes sense to go for like package deals like this.
And both the private and the public organizations, both of them offer these kind of packages, you're saying? Okay.
Yes, they do, yes.
Okay, I think that's a good option and something definitely to consider, given that it also appears to be cost effective to do it this way, right? Rather than just sign up for the course. That's the main draw to Oli for anyone who's going there. Obviously, you don't have to indulge in it if either you're not up for it, skiing is not your thing, or physically you think it's a little overwhelming. You don't have to, but it is one of the draws of Oli, and definitely make sure that a winter trip is on the cards if you're planning to indulge in skiing. Now, having spent some time here, I know perhaps your second trip was completely kind of spent in this 4-day course, like you called out, and getting to and fro early, I think. But for someone who might not be considering skiing to be top of the agenda, how do you, or what are the things you would call out one can spend time doing while here?
Yeah, so artificial lake is one of the popular things in Oli. So it's like a man-made lake, and it's around the skiing slopes that you can find. It's like a photography spot. of sorts. And another popular thing is the cable car ride. So it
Yeah.
is supposedly the second longest ropeway in Asia after the Gulmarg ropeway, Gulmarg Gondola. So it is from Joshimath to Auli. So it covers about 4 kilometers, and it's the one of the ways to between Joshimath and Auli. Another is by road, and road is like 11 kilometers, so this is like the shortest distance.
Yeah, and definitely beats the road trip, I'm sure.
Yeah, by
Right,
the
in terms of
views. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, the views. And I mean, I get car sick very easily, so I would prefer the cable car any day. But yeah, to your point, second longest, the cable car ride. And there is also a smaller one, I believe, right? This might be, I think, within Oli, right? It's like less than a kilometer long, I think. So for somebody who's looking for a quick one, you could do that. But
Yeah.
this one doesn't take too long either, right? It takes about half an hour, is what I believe.
Yeah.
Oli to Joshimath, yeah.
Yes, yes. So another one I think you're talking about is the chairlift, probably. So that is from the lower Ollie you can reach to the ski slopes. You have to take another like a chairlift. So maybe that's yeah what you're talking about.
Right, that's the GMNV to the Auli, I guess. Yeah, the cable, the chair cable ride.
Yes.
Right, that's the shorter one. Definitely do make sure to do this. Obviously, for the views, like Raksha called out even at the beginning, there is tons and tons of beautiful mountains. Okay, not tons, but there's a bunch of beautiful mountains that surround Auli, so it gives you like a very scenic view as well. These are huge peaks, right, Raksha? Not even the smaller peaks, I guess. So you have anything from say Ananda Devi to Hati Parvat, Trishul,
Mana Parbat,
Dronagiri, Mana Parvat,
yes.
Dronagiri. Yeah, there's a bunch of them. Mount Kamet. So there is definitely views in all directions, I believe, and that's why.
Waking up to that view in the morning is just priceless.
Exactly. And yeah, cable car kind of amplifies that experience as well, because you're kind of now getting a 360-degree view of everything, right from the views surrounding you, the mountains and stuff, and things below as well, because even the view, for example, of the man-made lake that you're talking of, right?
Yes.
That's great while you're taking the cable car ride.
Yes.
So definitely do take that opportunity. And Joshimath, right? Just quickly touching upon Joshimath as well. One of the, I would say, trailheads for a lot of important hikes. For example, the Valley of Flowers also, a lot of people do come start the trek or stay here and then move from here, etc. And other places also, I think even there's Hemkund Sahib and all of those that a lot of people stop over at Joshimath before proceeding. So it has a bunch of different activities one can indulge in. And while we're talking of Joshimath and treks, what are some of the important treks and hikes in the area? Because not necessarily Auli, because a lot of these either pass through Auli or start off from Auli and stuff like that, right, Raksha?
Yes.
So would you like to call out a few of these?
Yeah, sure. So the first one is the one that I went to was Gwari Pass trek. This was during my first trip to Auli. So it was a 4-day long trek, and we had stopovers in Auli before and after the trek. So that's one of them. And Valley of Flowers is another popular trek that a lot of people know about. There are also day trekking available in Auli. So there are like Auli to Gordon, Tali, Kulara, Tapovan. And there is another one which is Gurso Bugyal, which is very close to Auli. I mean, it's just about 3 kilometers from Auli, and it's really beautiful. I did not end up going there, but my brother and his friend ended up going there when we were traveling the second time. So it is quite scenic, and this was during winter, so it was kind of surrounded by snow all throughout, and it was quite pristine snow. I mean, not a lot of people were trekking during that time maybe, so it was like very pristine snow that you could find there. So, and it's very close by from the skiing slopes. It was about maybe 2 hours or so. They went there and came back, so it was quite quick, and you can't expect to have such scenic views so close. So yeah.
Definitely a lot of very beautiful treks that are options to consider as well while you're in Auli and might be interested in trekking as an option rather than say the other things that we're speaking of
Yes.
primarily, which is skiing. Now, just touching upon the Quarry Pass trek, right? This is one of the treks that you did. Can you tell us a little bit more about this? Like you did mention, it's a multi-day trek, but just in terms of the distance you covered during this trek, or even the nature of the trek, like was this a winter trek, like a snow trek, or is this more like meadows and something to do in, say, summer months, etc.? Like, what was your experience?
So I went there during summer months, like just the start of the season. So it was it I kind of did Quarry Pass and Pangachula Peak. So
Okay,
two of them together, and Quarry Pass is mostly kind of meadows, and in the sense it's quite scenic. And the Pangachula Peak is kind of can be on the technical side if you're going during the winters, like with harnesses and gears and stuff like that.
right.
So it's kind of an intermediate trek in winters. Quarry Pass is mostly easy trek, but if combined with Pangachula, it can be like easy plus or medium level.
Right. And just in terms of the trek in itself, right? So, given that it's an easy trek, I think most people can give it a try. It's just that it's how many days did you say you did this, or was this
So
in
it was
addition to the
4 days.
peak?
Yes, it was 4 days. So 3 days climbing up and 1 day coming back. So Kuari Pass itself was like 2 days, and Pangachula Peak was 1 day, and the next day we climbed down.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this is it. It was my first Himalayan trek, so yeah, it can be done for beginners. It can definitely be considered for beginners.
Okay, that's good. And just in terms of the altitude, I know we did touch upon that it's roughly like 2,500 meters above sea level and everything. But is AMS something to be considered for somebody who's considering even the treks in the vicinity?
So most of the times you end up going by this road route, right? So mostly
Mm-hmm.
taking like a car or taxi or a bus or something. So in that case, I haven't really experienced AMS at this point, and I haven't heard of anyone, but maybe it's
Right.
a good idea. I mean, just take a break. And it kind of the location is such that you end up taking pit stops. So the same thing happened
Right.
with us as well. Like we were coming from Rishikesh, so Rishikesh to Auli was a whole day trip, like a journey, and then we stayed in Auli overnight, and then we went on the trek next day. So it kind of goes in a slow pace. So I think it was fine. It did not feel like you had to take much precautions or anything. Yeah.
Okay, okay, that's good. That's good to know. And just in terms of the treks, also like you mentioned, pretty easy to beginner level treks, so anyone can do it. And a lot of these, I think it's about just the nature and the surroundings and the views you get, right? Because a lot of these are meadow treks
Oh
mostly,
yes,
right? So
yes,
you're passing
yes.
through meadows, and Oli in itself, right? It is a meadow, like Bugyal,
Oh
like you call it,
yes,
right? That's
yes,
what
yes.
it is. So some beautiful views, and yeah, definitely kind of enjoy that. And obviously, you get the mountains. You have the company of the mountains all along, so it's something to enjoy for. And the great thing is you have options, right? You could do multi-day treks like the Quarry Pass trek that you did. Otherwise, there's
Valley of
smaller day treks as well.
Flowers.
Yeah, longer treks like that, or day treks, even if
Yes.
for somebody who's not looking to like camp overnight and stuff like that, you could do smaller treks during the day as well. So yeah, we did the skiing aspect of it, and we also covered the other important part, which is the hikes and the treks in the area, which is I think which is what a lot of these places in the north, the hill stations in the north are popular for, right? So definitely do consider Auli as an option as well. Now, besides hiking and trekking, other things to do for somebody who's just looking to take a break, say between hikes or treks, and they have a couple of days to spend in the city, in the town. What are the some of the other options one can consider?
Okay. The Joshimat that we talked about, right? So it's the closest town from Oli, and it's about 10 kilometers or so from road, and it's also called Jyotirmat. Yeah, it's called Jyotirmat, and it's the one of the four cardinal institutions established by Shankaracharya. You can find a Shankaracharya mutt and cave over there. So that's something people go to. So, and there is also this 2500-year-old Kalpavriksha tree where Shankaracharya attained enlightenment. That's something also people go to for. And I think in the vicinity there's also Narsimha temple. So in Joshimat is like another attraction for pilgrims.
Yeah, very interesting, and especially Mutt and the cave that you mentioned of Adi Shankaracharya, right? I think that's also quite unique because this was somebody who literally traveled, I think it's definitely a few hundred years ago, and his travel spanned across India, right? The different points across India. So
Yes,
one of
yes.
the key spots that he spent time here as well. So definitely do consider checking that out. And like you mentioned, it's not too far away.
Yeah. So Shankaracharya established a mutt here in Joshimat, and it's one of the four cardinal institutions where he did that, and the other places are Sringeri, Puri, and Dwarka. So it's like he founded four monasteries in four directions. So Jyotirmat, it's apparently the first one, like first centers of religious learning.
Yeah, very significant place that way, and just in terms of the travels of Adi Shankaracharya also, right, as he was spreading the religion and his teachings, so definitely make it a point to check it out. And either way, I think you will end up in Joshimat one way or the other, given you might come here either through the cable car ride, or you might be here as a part of one of the other treks that you're taking that we kind of spoke about as well, because Joshimat is kind of the trailhead or the stopover point for a lot of these treks. So definitely make it a point to check out the mutt and the cave that Raksha mentioned earlier. Now, along with this, is there more places as well in the vicinity you'd like us to consider, Raksha?
There's another place that I would like to mention here is the Tapovan Hot Springs. So it's close to Joshimat, about like 10-15 kilometers, I think, from Joshimat. So you can take like a taxi, or like there is a taxi stand in Joshimat. So from there you can go to Tapovan, or you can have your own taxi. So it's a short drive, and the main thing here is the hot springs.
Yeah, this continues to kind of baffle me, right? You have hot springs. I mean, just one of the boons of the nature. It's just that while it's really cold in the surrounding areas, it's
yes, yeah.
like a blessing to have this, right? Especially hot springs. It's great that you kind of got a chance to visit here as well. And like I touched upon even at the beginning, this place, it does have a lot of religiously significant circuits, like pilgrimages or circuits, if I can call it. All of these Chota
Yes.
Char Dhams and your different Prayags and all of that. A lot of things around the vicinity. So while your Auli trip or trek can be maybe a week long, but if you want to like make it an extended trip and spend a few weeks here, you could easily do that, because there's so many things in the vicinity to do, right? And just touching upon the I guess significance in the epics also, right? Especially in the Ramayana, I think. I read up while I was looking up about this as well. There is this important Hanuman temple, and it is believed that Hanuman actually rested here while he was taking Sanjeevani back to Lanka, right? While he was...
Oh, right. I might have read that somewhere.
Yeah, so
sometime
that was
ago.
also
Yeah.
very fascinating for me. It's just that connection, I think. It does have mentions, a lot of mentions, and even that mountain, I believe, a portion of the mountain that he did take away for the Sanjeevani Jadi Booty, it's around here in this region. So that way, it's just fascinating for me to kind of read up those connections, because we
Oh,
keep
yes.
hearing these
Yeah.
stories while we're growing up, right? And then when you actually relate it to a place, it's kind of great to draw
Oh,
that
yes.
connection.
It's it's more relatable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So do definitely kind of check those out as well when you get a chance. And otherwise, it's a small, quaint sort of a town. It's a lot of these adventure activities. That's the mainstay of places like Auli, right? But just in terms of your experience, say with the local be it the cuisine or the culture or the people, the Garhwali people, like we call them, right? Those are the people, the locals of the area. Did you have anything you wanted to share with us, Raksha?
I mean, like all Garhwali people, right? They're very courteous and nice and hospitable. Mostly when I was in Oli, the food wise, you stay in hotels and you mostly eat in restaurants. I mean, that's how it goes because there are not many restaurants around that area. And there are like Garhwali cuisines as well. You might like come across from time to time. So yeah, but it's I think like most because most of the times food is kind of gotten from Joshimart, right? So it's kind of expensive because of that, and yeah, staying in Oli itself is expensive, and food in general is like very generic in that sense.
Yeah, I guess it's just the challenging terrain and to get to here, right? So that's why I think most of the stuff is brought from the close by villages or Joshimat,
Towns,
towns,
yeah,
etc. So
yes, yes.
maybe that's the reason also why it's so pricey, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Most of the locals that I was talking about, they were like, we stay in Joshimat and they kind of walk to Oli every day, like if they're
right, right,
working there. So it's like a 1.5 hour walk, like one way. So they do that kind of every day. That's kind of their
right.
ritual to work in Oli.
Yeah,
So yeah.
and I think that's why it also becomes important, right, to kind of take care, take extra care, I guess, when you travel to places like this, to maintain that pristine condition they are in, right, and not go and
Yes.
litter or leave your waste and
Totally,
litter
totally,
around and
totally.
stuff
Yeah.
like that. Because first of all, it's difficult terrains, and secondly, it's like a lot of people here they come from outside for work as well. So it's kind of difficult to it's so difficult, you see, just given the challenging terrains and the snow and everything, it makes it hard in terms of maintenance also.
Maintenance, yeah, it's difficult in terms of if somebody litters. I mean, if there are litters, right? It's kind of
Yeah,
challenging for them as well to move it somewhere else. I mean, like transfer it to the appropriate places. So,
things like that should definitely be considered. I mean, ideally you would do that anywhere you travel to, because tourism and people visiting places, a lot of the places that are pristine and much smaller, don't have the infrastructure, it is going to happen eventually, right?
correct.
Because people will find out, people will come, but the only way you can maintain and make them accessible to coming generations and people to follow is by doing your homework yourself, right? Not doing all of this stuff like littering or leaving waste, be it plastic, food, whatever, leaving that behind and all of that. So taking extra care wherever you go to, it doesn't necessarily have to be early, but that's something one should.
Yes, everywhere. I think in the mountains itself, I mean, the infrastructure is, I mean, not that like the cities, right? So I think it's always better to carry our own trash
Exactly.
or not litter everywhere we go. So basic things,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So definitely keep that in mind. But yeah, thanks so much for calling out the important parts, Raksha. Now, as we start to kind of wind this up, any memorable moments from the trip that you'd like to call out, Raksha?
Yeah, so I think from the first trip to Oli that I did, so that was to Quarry Pass, right? So I think when I reached Oli, I had no idea about the place, and it kind of quite surprised me because the morning that I woke up, I just saw like
Hmm.
mountains towering towards me, and it's just you get 360-degree views of the Himalayas, and it's just so incredible. So that was quite special to see that because not a lot of places you get to see that, right? And the second time was I was sure that I wanted to go to Oli second time because the first time it was just merely a pit stop and wanted to spend more time there. So the second time that I went there, it was specifically for skiing, and skiing there was so much fun. I mean, I did fall so many times, but it was also quite interesting to learn skiing there. And in like 4 days, we learned so much, and we wanted to definitely stay there for like a week or two to learn it like properly. But yeah, maybe have to go back again. But it's quite nice to learn skiing there. It's and there were some amazing people who were skiing so nicely, and it was just a sight watching them.
I'm sure there's a lot of pretty professional skiers also in the area
Oh yes, oh yes.
who kind of come here to ski and practice. And before we forget, we should also call out that Dehradun and Auli together, they did also host the first South Asian Winter Games in 2011. So that way also, Auli has been like really popular in the skiing circuit in India. It's been a pleasure talking with you and talking about all of these things, important things that a lot of us, I did not know a lot of the things about, especially the skiing part of it before we spoke about this. So thank you so much for calling that out and also shining some light on this hidden gem, I would say, that's completely hidden and surrounded by the mountains and the beautiful views, and shining some light on it and calling out some important things and how one can make this almost a adventure activity kind of a trip, as well as indulge in other things like hiking and just visiting some historically significant places also in the vicinity. Thank you so much, Raksha. It was a pleasure having this wonderful conversation with you.
Thank you, Saif. The pleasure was all mine. It was so nice talking to you. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. That was yet another great episode of the Musafir Stories. If you guys like the show, please subscribe to us on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Savan, Pocket Casts, Castbox, Stitcher, or any other podcasting app available on iOS or Android. Please do leave us a review on iTunes. It goes a long way in the show's discoverability. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We go by the handle The Musafir Stories. Or, if it suits you, you could email us at themusafirstories@gmail.com or visit our website at www.themusafirstories.com for more information. All of these links will be made available in the show notes section of each episode. So here's to more traveling, sharing, and inspiring. Stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, happy travels and goodbye.